Hey guys, Tyler here, bringing you my reaction to the December Balance Preview 1.0. That's right, there's going to be a patch. There's a discussion about it in the blog post. I'll include links to that below. Basically, they said that the approval rating for the full balance patch was, they usually like an approval rating of 80%, and it was 60%. So they're like, oh, we don't really want to implement that, but they still want to do a patch, so this has been announced for December. It's still going to be, largely based on community efforts. And I don't know if they're covering in here, but it includes a lot of map changes as well. Like there are going to be some 2v2 maps added from the map contest, but also a few of the existing maps from the map pool are being changed. Maybe a few of them hopefully get removed. So, we can free up our vetoes and play more a style that we prefer rather than just avoiding all the terrible maps. So let's have a look at this, This is a big announcement. Tune underused and undervalued commanders. And I think they said they want it to be 2 to 3 commanders for each faction. So just off the top of my head, this is probably going to be recon support for US forces, maybe commandos for Brits. I think it's got a few good elements, but I've always talked about how the glider itself is probably too expensive and maybe comes too late in the command point clock to be relevant. Maybe defensive for Soviets, because I'm sure they'll be nerfing the Dishka in this, and also defensive for Osseer. Nobody uses that, trenches. What? Terrible. So yeah, that's exciting. Definitely looking forward to that. Tune down the effectiveness of some Axis Elite heavy tanks to make them less spammable and dominant in team games. Well, having just cast 2 4v4s at the top level, we saw how effective the Elephant and even the Panthers were in both of those, so that's a good change, or good aim to change. Don't know exactly what the changes will be yet. Tone down the squad wiping effectiveness of some overperforming off-map abilities. Don't know what this would cover. Maybe Stuka Dive Bomb, but that'll probably be about it. I don't think too many off-maps are that broken at the moment. Maybe the Stuka Close Air Support planes, but that's for tanks, not for infantry, so it doesn't sound like that's the aim. Just some of the meta-dominating units, primarily Soviet, to improve strategic and competitive diversity. Well, it's clearly looking at penals and Dishkas there, I'd say. Improve strategic diversity and quality of life by making minor improvements to redundant, underused, and generalist units. Well, that sounds promising. But could go horribly wrong. So good aims. This is a good start. And they're mentioning how they're continuing the highest rated changes and perhaps discarding some of the less popular ones. I think the last patch, certainly most of the things I thought were good changes. But I think, a lot of the voting maybe was because people were like, oh man, that's the strategy I use and it's getting nerfed now, so I'll have to change my strategy and I don't want to have to do that. I think that was where a lot of the negativity was coming from, honestly. But let's have a look. Secondary focus. Okay, yes, so Lend-Lease Commander, so that's Dishkas, M4C Shermans, Maxims and Penals, so probably buff to the Maxim, nerf to Penals, and Conscripts. Obviously Conscripts are complete trash at the moment. I think, there's much discussion about this, but ultimately I think it comes down to them not having any weapon upgrades. Every other base infantry has a weapon upgrade. Conscripts don't. So there's nothing for their combat bonuses to be applied to, no weapon to gain that bonus, so it's kind of fall behind as soon as enemies get weapon upgrades. But I think they'll probably go down the path that they are following before, where they kind of, at the moment, Conscript's quite RNG heavy, where they've got quite bad accuracy but good damage, so you could go through a period of not landing any shots and just conscripts being useless, and then all of a sudden, like, all their bullets land and just a model dies straight away. So they're probably going to try standardize their damage. I think, yeah, they do 16 at the moment, so they'll probably bring it down to like maybe 10 or 12, more similar to other infantry squads, but increase the accuracy to compensate to keep their DPS similar, but they may be covered in the below. This is quite long, as you can see, and I haven't even gone that far down yet. 5 minutes in. Okay, adjustments to heavy tanks are overperforming. OKW Panther. OKW1 specifically because you're always going to tech in team games, and the OKW Panther also has the 0.6 moving accuracy, so it's just better. Elephant and Jagdtiger, yes, good changes for team games. Adjustments to Vet 4 and Vet 5 OKW units. Yeah, okay, that's probably alright. Adjustments to OKW and UKF forward retreat points come with a trade-off, becoming an interesting choice to a player rather than a guaranteed decision. Forward retreat points, a pretty big issue in 4v4s. They give those two factions, and USF of course, but USF is kind of like mobility is supposed to be their thing, but it gives these guys a big advantage, so I'm curious to see how they actually implement that. I thought personally it was probably better to allow Austria and Soviets to convert a half track into a forward retreat point, like just do a permanent conversion. After that it can't be moved anymore, but connect as a forward retreat point, but looks like they're going the opposite direction. And I think the problem with like some maps in the 4v4 pool are just so big. The retreat times are just so long. I think, you know, maps like, I think it's Hill 400, the one that's added fairly recently, like that's a pretty good map. But, you know, like retreating from steps from the middle all the way to base takes like 2 minutes. It's, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what the changes are. Blitzkrieg. These movement boosts will cease when the vehicle receives an engine crit. So yeah, it used to be the case where if you did like blitz before you took an anti-tank grenade, the blitz effect will keep going on the damaged engine. So you know, you get the 30% move speed bonus or something on the reduced move speed. So it looks like as soon as they take an engine crit, they'll deactivate. So I mean that's probably pretty good, especially for those like Panthers that are blitzing in reverse away to safety, right? Forward retreat points requires company command posts. Yeah, that doesn't really change much. Requires Schwer. Okay, so OKW1 requires tier 4 or mechanized. So these are very minor changes to the forward retreat points. OKW battle group unable to reinforce if cut off from enemy territory. Okay, well that probably should have been the case the whole time, so that's a good change. Reinforcement cost global increased by 20%. Oh, when forward retreat point is active. Holy shit, that's a big change. Is that for all of them? Wow, that is a huge change. 20%. That's going to require like a lot of micro to avoid that 20% penalty. I wonder if that happens like when you queue their reinforcement or when their model actually comes to your squad. That'll be interesting to see how that works. 2-minute cooldown. Oh my god, okay, well that's, you can't just deactivate it, reinforce and then reactivate it. 2-minute cooldown is a long time. 30-second cooldown when the forward retreat point is activated. I think this is a mistake. Having a cooldown on, you know, once you've deactivated, not being able to reactivate it for a while is fine, but this, I think this is a mistake because say you turn it on and then like a bombing run happens or something and your MG's pinned. That could go horribly wrong. Because, you know, forward retreat points are susceptible to bombing runs. You know, now you can't do off-map strikes in the base, so that can't happen in the base. You can't get hit by off-map. So I think, yeah, that might be a mistake, but whatever. Sandbags being standardized, so that's fine. This is a curious change though. Units that have been in combat for in the past 3 seconds will cause all unfinished enemy ghost bags within 4 radius to immediately deconstruct. This 4 radius is quite close, right? So I suppose it's like real close, but I wonder if this will like, because sometimes when you're building sandbags, you're like, okay, well, I'll take a bit of damage here, but I'll finish building the sandbag. It's like a strategic decision you make, but if it automatically gets cancelled, it kind of removes a strategic element. So I know they're trying to fix ghost bags, but don't know if that's the way to go about it. Repair speeds. Okay, USF and Royal Engineers being brought. It looks like they're being brought more towards Eastern Front Army repair speed times. So it looks like, yeah, that's the way they want to go. There's been much debate about this. And looks like they're going that way. Because it used to be the case, you know, when you're damaged tanks, OKW probably the most, looks like they're getting changed as well, egregious. But, you know, you damage their tank, and then you'd probably take casualties doing that. But you're like, okay, well now it's out of combat for a while, so I can, you know, make something happen. But then, because of their high repair speeds, the tank would barely be out of combat for a long enough time to matter. So you took all those casualties essentially for nothing. So it was kind of imbalanced. So it looks like they're bringing them more in line with the Eastern Front Army. So that's probably a good change, I think. Squad behavior. Added squad AI behavior. Okay, just reading through these. Fixed a disparity where low member squads also suffered from the most densely packed formations. Okay, so looks like they're maybe trying to fix squad spacing on 4-man squads to stop them from getting blasted. That's probably a good change. Assist each squad in their role. Whoa, that's an interesting change. So paratrooper squads will always have their Thompsons at the front. So that's kind of cool. I wonder if they'll change the squad formation on machine guns. Squad formations are now, they feel more fluid, okay, whatever. And support weapons to the flanks. Okay, that's probably a good change. So that way if your infantry's taking damage and you're trying to land a bazooka on something, it won't just, you know, the animation won't get reset, or it's least likely to get reset. So it should be more consistent. So that's probably a good change. I remember Cruise back in the day with this Kappa patch changed it so that for machine guns, the weapon was at the back and the squad members were at the front. So that, you know, when, say, like multiple LMG squads were shooting at it from the front, they would then shoot the models at the front, not the gunner, so you wouldn't get the gunner decrew death loop kind of thing going on. So I think that would be a good change, but it looks like they're not implementing that. But, you know, baby steps. This is a step in the right direction for sure. Activating smoke barrages will now order only 1 unit at a time. Okay, well that's a pretty minor change. Fuel caches and munitions caches increased to 250, so that's clearly aimed at team games. Though it does make them a bit worse for ones. Load time for buildings increased to 1. Oh, max load time increased to 3.25. Yeah. Do you know, they're trying to make it so you can't pop in and out of buildings. But honestly, I think that's a good mechanic, being able to pop in and out of buildings. I think it makes for quite fun and like skill testing gameplay. Kind of like, you know, kind of like in MOBAs where you like attack cancel or whatever. Similar to that, I thought like getting in and out of garrisons quickly was a good feature, but looks like they're trying to slow you being able to get in and out of buildings. So I don't know. I don't really like that change, but they were trying to implement that in the last patch, so clearly that's something they want to change. Especially the unload time, man. It's going to make getting out for grenades so hard. Especially because I think at the moment, I feel like the game's a bit laggier than it used to be. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe a load time thing would be okay, but unload time, I don't know, I'm not a fan of. Kubel. Decrease the manpower bleed. So yes, they were always going to try and nerf the Kubel, so they've decreased its rear armor from 4.5 to 1.6. Huge nerf. Front armor 4.5 to 3.5. So small change, and health going up. So I mean, I imagine that the health is similar, like this amount on the front. It's probably similar, but there's a massive change to the rear armor. I think the equation for tanks, the medium tanks, is their frontal armor, or the rear armor is half their frontal armor. So this is obviously way less than half of the frontal armor, which is a general guide of what every vehicle used to be like. But, then it made heavy tanks, their rear armor way too strong so that most tanks couldn't even penetrate them, so they end up nerfing heavy tank rear armor. So yeah, I don't know, that's probably a bit too big of a nerf, but we'll see how it goes. Jagdtiger. To decrease the on-field dominance of the Jagdtiger, it's receiving some changes. So then buffing its supporting fire, so it's better against infantry, worse against tanks. So damage decreased to 300. I think in the previous patch they were going to change it to 280. So not quite as big of a nerf, but this is a huge change because it means now Jagdtiger won't two-hit most medium tanks, which has always been a big problem in team games. Range reduced by 5, so I think that makes it the same as the 17 pounder now, I think, because it used to be the case where the JT would be able to outrange the 17 pounder, but kind of making the 17 pounder a bit worthless because the JT could just sit at max range and shoot it and kill it eventually. So maybe this makes the 17 pounder a bit better. Accuracy is also being decreased, so that's happening, especially at far range, man. Look at that, it's a pretty big nerf to its far accuracy, so it's expected to miss a bit more. Supporting fire range being reduced. Engine upgrade rotation bonus being removed. Well, the problem with the Jagdtiger and the full balance patches, they nerfed it way too much, but it looks like I think they should, these changes, fine. All these changes up here, range, damage, accuracy, good. But engine rotation bonus, I don't know about that. Pop cap increase, good. Because, I mean, if you compare it to like a medium tank, which is usually 10 to 12 supply, right? Any day previously, I would have taken a Jagdtiger over 2 medium tanks. But now, they're trying to reflect its value to be reflected in its pop cap, so that's good. Okay, so v1 changes supporting fire to fire 3 for 5 shells instead of 3. So, that's a good change. No longer collides with the terrain. That supporting fire would hit the terrain like all the time, even the slightest hill, kind of like the ISU 152. Well, probably even worse than the 152 actually. So they're changing a few things about that to reflect it no longer colliding with the terrain. Panther increased to 18. Okay. Decreased moving accuracy. Okay, yeah, there we go. 2.5. So this is the OKW Panther. So, I mean, if they're decreasing its and increasing its moving scatter, so when it's firing on the move, it's getting a double whammy firing on the move. Accuracy, both scatter and accuracy, so it's probably going to miss a lot more firing on the move. V2 plus 10% armor bonus removed. That is a shock. So it'll still get its plus 160 health, but no longer the bonus armor. I don't know. Probably moving accuracy is fine, but I don't know. This feels a bit weird. Removing its, because it gets the skirts. Is it good enough just getting 160 health at V2? It might be. And combat blitz, 100% accuracy bonus reduced to 20%. Yeah, well, that should have happened a long time ago, so that's a good change. Yeah, because the OKW blitz was obviously a lot better than the Austere blitz, so that's now being brought more in line with each other. 100% accuracy bonus was insane as well. So maybe these changes are alright. Maybe they should have just left the popcat where it was though. Okay, Jagdtiger. Abandoned critical chance being changed. Damage. Okay, damage being reduced from 640 to 580. So that will no longer kill most medium tanks. It'll kill those I don't know, like the Stug, the EM10, those like lower health medium tanks, but not the bread and butter medium tanks anymore. Manpower cost increase, fuel cost increase, population cost increase. Don't think they should increase the population of this. I mean, you got to think about it compared to, say, like rocket artillery or a howitzer, right? Rocket artillery is usually like 12, 14 supply. So I think keeping it at 18 makes sense. Because, then it's more in line with those other weapons that, it kind of overlaps with. So yeah, that's a bad mistake. They shouldn't be increasing its pop. If anything, with all these changes, they should probably decrease it. All random crits removed except for vehicle stun. Yeah, so it used to do like random crits. Like sometimes it would like immobilize the engine so you couldn't move. So it looks like now they'll just have it stun. I imagine it'll be like a 5-second stun, similar to target weak point. So yeah, that's good. That's a good change. Those crits were terrible because if you landed a shot on anything, if the shot itself didn't kill it, the follow-up from anti-tank weaponry from the crit almost guaranteed would. But yeah, population probably shouldn't change. LEIG now has smoke. Good change. Good change. OKW, sometimes have trouble against garrisons and being able to smoke them so you can run up, throw your smoke grenade in or your incendiary grenade in. That's going to be a good change, but maybe with the unload times, maybe that's going to be a bit too strong. For marked elephant, same damage reduction and population being increased as well. Elephant, has shorter range, so it didn't need a range decrease, and I think it had low accuracy as well, so it didn't really need the other changes that the JT was getting. Panther, okay, that's being increased, and that's also getting its armor removed, and its reload is being decreased. Okay, well, so similar changes. I've already discussed population. Oh, the Austere Panther, though, you have to consider you have to tick all the way to tier 4, so there's more ticking costs involved. I don't know, I suppose it does cost less as a result. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's not a big change. Stuka dive bomb. Yeah, I thought this was what they'd be changing. Increased its AoE. Increased its munitions, remove crit. So the way it used to work is any infantry in the area of the Stuka dive bomb there was a critical. So if they were just in the area, they were guaranteed died. It wasn't like if you were standing on the edge, it would do like half damage or whatever. If any infantry was in there, it would die. So it looks like now they're increasing its AoE damage, but making it so it doesn't guarantee kill any infantry in the radius. So it'll probably make it slightly better against tanks as well, but yes, probably yeah, I don't know. I don't really care about that change, honestly. Stuka Close Air Support Loiter no longer deals crits. Oh, that's good. Okay, well that's good. That's a good change. I talked about how that was strong ability, and doing random crits is yeah, they should have. This is one of the last, like, looks like they're removing some of those last random RNG crit stupidity. So yeah, this would sometimes do like stun and engine damage crits, but looks like that won't happen anymore, so that's good. Sherman's being changed for these Soviets. Have to have tier 4 built. So that's going the way of the Easy 8. Easy 8 used to be the same way. You used to be able to call it in without tech, and now you have to build it from your tech structure. So, alright. Might be a good idea to reduce its fuel cost maybe by 10 as a result of this. But that's a fine-tuning kind of thing. It's still very good, you know, it's got the good moving accuracy, but comparing it to a T-34-85, which you now have to do, have to compare it. I think I'd have the T-34-85, even though the M4C has the better moving accuracy. Obviously it doesn't have the 800 health, it's only got 640 health, so I think maybe it should have a slight fuel cost reduction. Penals, moving cooldown is being increased, so they'll fire less frequently when firing on the move. Reinforcement cost increase, okay, small increase, not a big deal. Veterancy requirements increased, no, not too much, but I think this is a good change. This is one of the changes I push for. Well, I always talked about penals always got their veterancy too quickly, and especially their Vet 2 bonus was quite powerful, so they'd get to Vet 2 very quickly, and then they'd have like a power spike at that point, and without overrun, especially like Volksgrenadiers. And it would take Volksgrenadiers until they hit like Vet 4 and Vet 5 to even come close to be able to fight them again, so probably a good idea to slightly, you know, delay that Vet 2 power spike on the penal. Satchels no longer collide with vehicles. Guess, yeah. Okay, the anti-tank satchels now require the PTRS upgrade. That's a good change, because one of the counters to infantry, you know, is to like get your light vehicle right next to them, like really close on them, so you like got the maximum accuracy, so most of your shots will hit, so you can damage them like real quickly. But the problem with penals was, if you try to do that, they just anti-tank satchel you, so you had to generally fight at longer ranges, or it would take longer to shoot them down. So this is a good change, so you'll be able to do more damage on penals when they haven't got the upgrade with your light vehicles, so it makes light vehicles a bit more relevant. PTR's aim time looks like it's being buffed, so you know, it used to take a long time. You know, your PTR squad would be standing there, you'd be like, fire the damn thing, but looks like they're improving that, so that's good. And it looks like anti-tank satchels will continue to target. So similar to like anti-tank grenades, if you like get in range to throw it and target the vehicle, even if the vehicle goes like out of the initial range, it'll still hit them. But the sticky satchels didn't used to be that way. If you got out of range, the ability would like cancel, and then you start like running up to them and trying to do it again. So you know, they're buffing it when you actually get the PTRS upgrade, but they're nerfing it for the regular penals, or just doesn't exist for the regular penals. Fix an issue where the anti-tank satchels will deal high damage to passengers on board vehicles. I think if you land a sticky satchel on a half-track with squads inside it, the squad inside should probably die. Hopefully this fixes the thing where if the squad got out of the half-track, the satchel would be on the squad instead of the half-track. Hopefully that's what that means, instead of... Because I feel like that should happen, right? You know, if somebody throws like a monster-sized bomb on your half-track, you'd expect the men inside to die. So I hope that that's how it goes, but we'll have to wait and see. Dishka. Okay, well this is probably my most hated thing for a long time. I really hate the Dishka. So reinforcement costs going up, good change. It was always way too cheap to reinforce. Traverse speed decreased massively. So it's like the speed that the gun rotates inside its arc, I believe. Suppression decreased by from 0.00044 to 30, so that's what? Like a 30% or so decrease in suppression. So that's probably good. It suppressed way too quickly. Rate of fire. Ooh, rate of fire up close is being nerfed. Setup time being increased by 0.25. Yeah, that's still within reason. Fire aim time being decreased. Okay. Population from 6 to 7. Okay, well that's a good change as well. 6 pop cap. It was way too cheap. So yeah, they're nerfing its suppression. Looks like it'll track onto targets a bit more slowly. Nerfing its reinforcement costs. So overall, good changes to the Dishka. Looks like it'll still be good, but it won't be like, well, ridiculously broken. So yeah, nice. That seems like a good balance of Dishka. We'll have to see how it plays, but I think that looks, from my understanding of the stats, that looks good. Maxim suppression being increased, good. Maxim was terrible. Nearby they're changing its nearby suppression multiplier. Okay, well that's probably as a result of buffing its suppression. Maxim always used to have like a nearby suppression, like much less than most other machine guns. But that was compensated by its more narrow arc. But it looks like they're going to keep the wide arc, increase its suppression a little bit. And they're changing the suppression bonus bulletin from 5% to 1%. That is just, who cares, man? It's such a minor change. It is. Well, who cares? I didn't use it anyway. Conscripts damage from 16 to 12. So yeah, that's what I predicted, making it more in line with most other infantry, and the accuracy is being massively increased. 0.5 to 0.71. That's in close. 0.33 to 0.55. So yeah, massive increase in accuracy, but decrease in damage. So more standardized their DPS output at every range. Near range increase from 0 to 10, so they don't have to be right on top of infantry to. So this value here, the first value is their near accuracy. So this used to happen at 0 range, and then their max range would be what, like 35, I guess, 40. So they start losing their accuracy, start heading towards this value, right from, unless you're on point blank. Now you'll maintain this high accuracy up to 10 range. So that's an interesting change. PPS is being reduced. So obviously if this is kind of like some kind of balance. PPSH conscripts are very, very strong. I'm interested to see how they perform now after this change. Molotovs have been merged with the anti-tank grenade upgrades. So that's probably a good change. Barely anyone went for Molotovs. And anti-tank grenade cost was kind of on par with a lot of other factions, like upgrades already. Yeah, so that's probably, I mean, that's kind of good, but maybe there's room for another upgrade from the HQ now. I don't know. v1 received accuracy modifier of 0.92. So I think previously all they would have is tripwire flares, so it's interesting. Molotov range being replaced by increased Molotov throw speed. Well, that's probably pretty cool, right? Because it does take them. They wind up. They're like, So yeah, that's probably a nice change. Okay, so they're giving you a bonus to received accuracy early, and then removing it later on. So at Vet 3 they'll be the same, but before Vet 3 they'll perform better. Okay, so that makes sense. So conscripts, big changes, and we'll have to see how they work out, but overall try and standardize their damage. ISU 152 armor increased. Okay. Manpower cost decreased. Pretty minor changes there between those two. HE fire damage increased from 0.05 to 0.15. So on the outer edges of the shell's AoE, like towards the outer edges, we'll be doing like 0.15 times its damage. So I don't know what it does on HE damage. Maybe it's like 160. So it'll do like 0.15 or 160, which is that 60 damage? Let's check the old calculator, eh? $24. Okay, I was way off target. I don't know. I don't know what shell damage is on HE. I don't know if it's 160 or 240 or 200. Can't remember. The 152's been irrelevant for quite a long time, and so I can't remember its stats right now. HE AoE distances. Okay, so they're decreasing the size of its AoE, but increasing the damage at the edge. Okay, and the concrete piercing. Oh, okay. So they're decreasing the AoE quite a lot. But now it's similar to the JT. It looks like the rounds are going to go through, bypass the terrain. So they used to bypass the terrain, I think, but then it was too strong, so they made it so they didn't. But now they're changing it. They're nerfing it, but they're making it so it bypasses the terrain. So they're trying to make it more consistent, and it's probably going to. I mean, I don't know exactly how it plays, but trying to make it more consistent is a good aim. Looks like the scatter is being increased, so it'll be a bit more RNG at long range. Like the shells will be a bit more wayward. And AP shells deal 50% deflection. Whoa! 50. Okay, this justifies me looking up the stats. Of the 152. So if you want it, like, people often go, oh, are these stats still updated? Well, yes, they are still updated. And even then, it's like, well, the game hasn't been changed in so long. If they're not 100% correct, they'll be like 98% correct. So here we have armor piercing round and the howitzer round. So yeah, the armor piercing round does 240 damage. So if the 152 fails to penetrate when it's an armor piercing round, now it will do 120. So like a regular tank shot is 160. So a fair chunk of damage, I think, same as Panda Shrek. If it bounces off a tank. So that's kind of cool. It's to make it, because before the arm-piercing round was basically useless. What's its range? Range 80. So now it only gets outranged by 10 by the Jagdtiger, so... I don't know, 152's looking more promising in team games. Oh, it looks like the HE round does do 240 damage. Okay. So that's good. Good change. Good changes, boys. Good changes. And yeah, that's going to make the 152 way better, way more viable in 4s. Probably in even 1v1s as well. Calliope pop cap increased to 16. Rocket delay, okay. So it looks like they're making it maybe a bit less lethal. Near AoE increased from 0.5 to 0.75. So it looks like the rockets won't be delivered in like such a fast burst. Maybe they'll come in more like land mattress, like they're kind of like that kind of style, but they're increasing the AoE. So this, I imagine this is like, yeah. So the rockets themselves, if they land, they'll be more likely to do like good damage, but there won't be like a million rockets landing at once. So I think, you know, it will be more likely to kill models, but least likely to kill squads. I think an HP decrease. That's yeah, it's probably a good change. I mean, these things were impossible to kill before, so now maybe you stand a chance to kill the Calliope. Removal of reload frequency. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's how the Calliope, you know, does like a salvo of rockets, has a pause, then fires another salvo. Maybe it's more, like I said, more like the land mattress and continuous stream of rockets, if I had to guess. If not, maybe it's like a nerf to the like cooldown bonuses. But I think that's what it is, the first one. Priests. Mid AoE being increased. Yeah, that's alright. Creeping Barrage. Yeah, Creeping Barrage was kind of shit. It used to have like it was like kind of like the old pre-shell, so now it will be same as the new pre-shell, so that's good. Popcat decrease, but you can no longer decrew it. So yeah, stopping that exploit, but making it slightly better to compensate. So yeah, we'll see. It's probably fine. I mean, 15 supply is the same as every other howitzer, I think, so let's just make it more standard. Let's check the time here. Yeah, now I've still got 20 minutes. I should be able to get through. There's only Brits to go. Jackson, health from 480 to 640. Good change, so it won't die to 3 shots. Fuel increased 15. Oh my god, so they're just increasing its health by 160 and only increasing its price. Holy shit. Jackson might be OP, honestly. Jackson with 640 health might be OP. Because the reason why the Jackson has 200 damage per hit and more if you use the AP shells, it's fast. I think it's the fastest tank destroyer. It's got the turrets. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Jackson's probably going to be too good. And it's got the moving accuracy bonus as well. 0.75 moving accuracy. Most other tank destroyers at 0.5. So yeah, Jackson may be too good with those changes, but we'll see how it goes. Rear echelons. Smoke on the rear echelons. What the fuck? What the fuck? What? Oh my god, man, this is a crazy change. Oh man, I don't know about this. I thought the point of US forces was supposed to be, you know, you got these like multi-purpose riflemen. They can do everything. That was like the faction's identity, but removing smoke from them. Oh man, I don't think that's a good change. Oh, and re-echelon get a mine? I wonder what kind of mine that is. I wonder if that's like an anti-infantry mine, if it's like the... what do you call it? It's the one in that really weird Soviet commander. You can plant patches of them and they're kind of like... I don't know. Anyway, we'll have to see what... I'm not sure how this goes. I don't know if this is going to be anti-vehicle or anti-infantry mine. How much damage it will do, or if it'll give crits or whatever. But that's a big change. That's a huge change, needing minesweepers. And I wonder if that means that Tommies are going to get anti-tank grenade. Well, let's find out. British trench is becoming free. Can now be occupied by enemy troops and can only be built in captured territory. So I'm going to have to upgrade my starter series on cover, but probably a good change. It looks like they're not changing its size though. I suppose now that it can be captured by enemy troops, having to kill it is not so big of an issue, so maybe it's not going to be a problem. But I think the problem with the British trench was always how small it is, and I know it's kind of like, well, it's a hole in the ground, it should be like hard to hit and shit, but it was such a small target size you could just never hit it, take it forever to kill. But it looks like instead they're completely changing it, so it's a big change. It's certainly a big change. Can only be built in captured territory. That should always have been the case. Or should it? Maybe now that it can be captured. I don't know. This is like a lot of changes all at once for the trench. Not sure what to think about there. Firefly. Okay, it's been changed. So it used to have the same accuracy as the Jackson. Now it's kind of like halfway, slightly better than average tank, but worse than previous. And its accuracy is being decreased massively. Oh, hold on. No, that must... Okay, that's a typo. It must be 0.04. That's... Okay. So in the previous patch, I think what they were doing was removing the Vet3 plus 80 damage bonus. So now it looks like they're forgetting about that, but they're decreasing its accuracy massively. So I think, Firefly... I think, decreasing the moving accuracy probably made sense, but decreasing its actual accuracy at the same time, I'm not sure. I suppose it will survive a bit more easily now that it doesn't get two-shot by the elephant, so... Yeah, I think moving accuracy changed good. This accuracy changed as well, maybe a bit too much. And shield rockets no longer cancel move commands upon stun. So I suppose if you're executing a reverse, you get stunned by shield rockets. As soon as you come unstunned, you'll keep going. So it makes it easier to control. It's probably a good thing. Shield rockets now deal 33% damage with infantry, so you can no longer do the Red Wing style, make them explode at max range and wipe squads and garrisons, I'd guess. Mortar pit now has smoke barrage at Vet 0, and Vet 1 reduces smoke barrage cooldown. So if you ever want to know like what's going on in terms of veterancy, Cookies and Cream made a real good veterancy guide. Hasn't been updated for a while though. I do miss Cookies and Cream. He was a very good strategist. 3-inch mortar pit. v1 reduces the smoke barrage cooldown. Okay, so it looks like they're not changing the barrage cooldown or health bonus. It looks the mortar pit was initially getting changed quite a lot. It was becoming one mortar, and it was in decreased range, decreased cost. Looks like they're kind of just being like, none of that shit. Just so they definitely scaled back quite a few changes on the full balance patch. I suppose there's probably room for a few more changes to be added on, especially with the commander changes. They're going to be huge. Quality of life changes. Sometimes these quality of life changes, or oftentimes, they're better than the patch themselves. So let's have a read through these. Don't want to skip over this, but this video is also getting extremely long. I was intending this to be like half an hour, but now it's like 51 minutes. Fixed an issue where several vehicle units would prefer moving backwards rather than forwards, so that's probably good for like universal carrier, coup wagon. That's good. Fix an issue where remanned howitzer crew members would cost more to reinforce. Alright, doesn't really matter. Fix an issue where certain infantry models were immune to death from flame weapons. No, I don't know about, didn't know that existed. Pack 43 and 17 pounder now have prioritized vehicles permanently on. That's fine. Grenadier LMG 42 now uses the proper upgrade icon. I didn't even notice that. Maximum sustained fire now uses the proper ability icon. Okay. Didn't notice that. I didn't use the maximum much because it was terrible. Soviet and USF AT guns no longer slowed by cover to match the. Okay, I didn't even notice that either. Soviet ROX 3 no longer has higher aim times compared to other flamethrowers. Well, that's okay. Looks like they're trying to standardize flamethrowers a bit more. Fix an issue where hold fire will not work properly on mortars. Yeah, I have experienced that before, so that's a good change. Fix an issue where Veteran C1 Soviet mortar flare would sometimes not trigger. Okay, everybody's experienced this. This is a huge change. You know, always the trick was to do it slightly inside max range, but even sometimes when you did that, it would still bug out. So that's a very good change. 120mm mortar flare not matching the weapon's auto fire range. Don't know about that. Didn't really use the 120 that much. Fixed an issue where RAM would stun on deflection but not on penetration. Okay, so that's an interesting change. Because previously when you ram and it penetrate, it would do an engine crit. Or would it do an engine crit, or would where the tanks it was doing it on just low enough health that it gave them the crit? Oh, I don't know. But either way, this way it's going to make RAM better. So if you stun, if you penetrate, it will also stun as well as do the engine crit. So whatever that gets hit is going to be way more fucked. But the thing is with RAM, I think it's only got like about a 33% chance to penetrate. Like most, like Panthers or even less. I think it's got like 100 penetration. So yeah, it was always kind of like a YOLO kind of maneuver, and now it's being made slightly better. Fix an issue where 250 LMGs Grenadiers did not have penalties when constructing objects. And gained increased range on their. Yeah, I knew about that. This is from. There's only one commander that has this. I forget what it's called. I think it's. What is it? It's the one with like spotting scopes, right? I can't remember right now. I'm blanking. But yeah, rifle grenades used to have like plus. I think it was like 30% range, but it got nerfed because you could rifle grenade something from outside of its sight range. So it's kind of broken. So it looks like they're finally fixing that. Fix an issue where AI would not upgrade healing or repairs for their respective structures. Okay, that's good. They're fixing the AI. Fix an issue with infantry handheld AT weapons would not properly apply death criticals to vehicles when target reaches 0 health. I've banged on about this in replays for such a long time. So yeah, it used to be, I talked about so many times, most people who are still watching at this stage probably know, but it used to be where, like, if you would shoot a vehicle, like what should be a kill shot, say the vehicle has 80 health and the bazooka does 80 damage, that should kill the tank or the vehicle, whatever, right? But it wouldn't. It would only kill the tank if the tank was on like 40 health or something. Like it should kill, it should be like 80 damage, 80 health, should be dead. But it would only kill if it, I think it was in the first 2/3 or so of its damage, if it reached that. So if it was on like 65 health or whatever, and then it shot it, it would kill it. But now it will actually work. So anti-tank guns didn't used to have this. It will be main tanks. It was just handheld anti-tank. So this is a very good change. Probably makes double bazookas on rear echelons better, because 2 bazookas adds up to 160 damage. So it's more likely to kind of add up with the health. So it's a very good change. That's probably this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes these changes are the best changes. Fix an issue with the bulldozer. Fire less smoke rounds compared to the other regular Sherman. Alright. Fix an issue where the officer and reinforced times did not match with the rest of their squad. Okay, well I thought that was kind of intended, but fine. Fix an issue with Firefly tulips. Could apply their effects on infantry. Okay, I didn't know that. Could they stun infantry? Maybe. Priest no longer requires 4 models to recruit, now requires 3. Okay, small change, doesn't really matter. Fix an issue where this is the 50 cal for US forces, and the Dishka could not be targeted when abandoned. I didn't realize the Dishka couldn't be targeted when abandoned. About the 50 cal, I knew about that, and I think they were going to fix that in the full bounce patch, so this is probably just being carried on from there. So that's a good change. I actually made a meme about that in my micro trips and ticks 1000 video. If you haven't seen that, it's my 1000 subscriber bonus video. Look that bad boy up. Fixed an issue where certain units could rewarded more experience than the actual entity cost would imply. Okay. Fix an issue where SU-85 focus sight and T-70 recon abilities were not properly highlighted when on cooldown. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Fix an issue where certain units could double shot. Oh no! There goes my last micro tips and tricks video. It's pretty much all on double shots, and they're all going away. Fix an issue where certain MGs could not be upgraded with ambush camouflage when captured. It's a good change. Fix an issue where ambush camouflage did not properly apply at 1 CP. Okay, well that's fine. Ambush camouflage, I really wish that was like a more viable option, so hopefully this makes it possible. Fix an issue where commandos previously took too long to regain the ambush bonuses. Okay. Fix an issue where it's possible. Okay, these are all going to say fix an issue, so maybe I should probably stop saying that. Possible to hide the Jagdtiger aiming at shell. I didn't know about that. Soviet sniper would camouflage only when a single model was in cover. Okay, well, it seems like maybe that was intended, but they're going to fix it. UI issue where building preview was displaying longer MG weapon range than the actual one. Okay, well that's good. So yeah, it used to be depending on like in the window of the building. Like the MG arc was based on the center of the building rather than at the window. So the MG could fire further than it appeared it could fire because the arc was in the wrong position on the building. So they're fixing the arcs on that, I guess. That's good. Fixing an issue where squads pinned under the effects of raid operation would be able to capture points. Yeah, I remember seeing that once. It's a pretty funny bug. Fix an issue where it's not possible to access the same abilities between certain units. This includes sappers, lieutenants, and Tommies. Okay, I don't know about what that is. Machine guns that hit ambush, camouflage, hold fire, activated upon death will not auto-acquire targets when they're recruited. Okay, that's definitely a good change. Bofors barrage will continue even if the Bofors lost its garrison bonus. I thought that was intended, but looks like it isn't. Fix mortar pit smoke barrages leave gaps within creeping barrage range. Okay, that looks like they clearly want mortar pit smoke barrage to be more part of the game. Fix an issue with certain team weapons sometimes could have suppression modifiers permanently attached. Okay. I suppose that's like when it gets decrewed and recrewed, probably part of those bugs that we had like about a year ago now, I guess. Around the time of what's it, Warpaint? Might have been Warpaint. Certain veterancy bonuses will not apply correctly to MGs and mortars. Okay, I don't know what that was, but it sounds like they're fixing it, so it's good. Demo charges would deal double damage if detonated by weapons fire. Okay, so they're finally fixing that. Stack multiple booby traps together on the same location. I suppose that's like the OKW one that you could put down with like ogres when they vet up, and Jaeger lights, and also there's that Soviet commander, right? The one with the urban defense, I think it is. Maybe that's for that. Prioritized vehicles would sometimes not show even when multiple AT guns were selected together. Okay, that sounds good change. Placement range is now visible when setting up and after they have been built. Yeah, that's a good change. Hammer vehicle tracking duration decreased. Okay, so I'm not. Oh, okay, hammer vehicle tracking decreased. So this requires us to go back to the stats. So the reason why the hammer vehicle tracking was so long was to account for the long reload time of the Firefly. So look up the stats for this. Reload time 8.13. So now the Firefly hammer tracking is no longer going to work for its gun because the tracking lasts for 7 seconds. See 8.13. So Firefly is getting royally fucked in this patch. Holy shit. Recovery sappers can now, because this, I don't know, you might not know what this does, but it's kind of like you could kind of half see the enemy tank through the fog of war if you didn't quite have sight of it. So if it had been hit by a shell recently. So you could kind of like continue chasing even if the tank was slightly out of sight and keep shooting at it. But it looks like you can no longer do that now with the Firefly. Okay, so the sappers from, tactical support can now be upgraded to heavy sappers and build structures. Whoa! So they can build mines now. So that coolin's probably just flat out better. But tactical support did get a lot of nerfs, so it's probably going to be fine. Fix an issue where some squad models would cost more than one pop cap on AT guns. Okay. OKW starting crew weapons. Okay, so yes, this is also a huge change. So it used to be OKW crew weapon team members would just be flat out Volksschmieders, whereas every other faction's ones were like real shit. They'd be like maybe a third power of a regular like Pioneer or Combat Engineer or whatever. They basically do nothing, whereas OKW had like full strength Volksschmieders on their team weapons. So now they're also getting nerfed to be the same as every other faction. And finally, increased medic search radius for Med HQ made it impossible for players to place it too close to path blocking objects. So I don't know, maybe this is going to stop you getting your squads jammed in your forward retreat point. It's probably good. So yeah, most of these probably from the full bounce preview. Overall, it's greatly scaled down from full bounce preview changes, but pretty much every one I think I'm in agree with. There are a few things where I think they've gone too far, but overall very good patch, and this is just version 1.0. There's still a lot of balance changes to come, of course, to the maps, to the rebalancing some maps, and the addition of the new two maps, and the changes to all the unused commanders, so like recon support for USF, probably defensive for Austria. Hopefully this is going to be a real zinger of a patch, and I'm very, very happy about this. And this video is 1 hour 6 long, so whoever watched all the way to the end, type in chat or in YouTube comments. Alright, that's it for me. Goodbye and good luck.